What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we're back here today with another deck profile, and this time it is for Eldlich Invoked. So I finally managed to pick up Eldlich after all this time. The Golden Lord, which from this angle looks like it's like one of those fake ones that you get from the markets, or that like your grandparents give you for Christmas. They're like, I got these Yu-Gi-Oh cards for you, and then you pull it, and it looks like one of these Golden Lords at this angle. But yeah, we've digressed for a second there. Yeah, I finally managed to pick up the whole deck, and we're gonna build it, give it a bit of a shot. This list doesn't have Magician Souls in it because I don't have Magician Souls. I'll go through what you can cut for Magician Souls when you get to that point, but ultimately this is just a pure Eldlich Invoked list. I shouldn't have said the word pure because there's a lot of mix and match stuff. We also play Dragoon, which is why Dragoon's here. But as always, before we get started, please remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people. And let's get on into the deck profile. Okay, so starting us off, we of course are playing 3 copies of the Golden Lord. I just feel at the moment 3 is the correct choice with stuff like Ice Dragon's Prison running around like in such prominence. If you say have one in your graveyard and then your other one gets like on field and they both get sniped, you're kind of screwed and your whole Eldlich package is dead. So I feel like you need to play 3 for that specific reason, that if you do get hit with Ice Dragon's Prison, it's not game over for you and you still do have one other Lord. Following that up, we do move into our Invokes. So we have 3 copies of Alistair the Invoker following him up. Just your primary normal summon for the deck. You just want to normal summon him, do Invoke stuff, as is the way. Then next off, we are playing the Trickstar package. So we're playing a Candina and a Korribane, simply because this is a 1-card Dragoon. So like Alistair plus Korribane is Macabre plus Dragoon, and then you've got, of course, the Candina Korribane just makes a standard Dragoon. Then we have the Dragoon cards, and that is 1 copy of Dark Magician and 1 copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon. Pretty obvious, you just kind of have to play them if you're playing Dragoon. If you're not playing Dragoon, cut these. By all means, that can probably be your Magician Souls, but in the other case, you can cut the 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs for your Magician Souls if you need to. Next off, we move into the spell card, so it is a pretty short monster lineup, because your traps can be used as monsters, I guess, but we are playing, of course, 3 copies of Magical Meltdown. Searches your Alistair, gets your whole business going. This has been around for like 4 years now, this shouldn't be a surprise. Then, of course, we have 2 copies of Invocation. As we're not playing stuff like Desires, the 2 copies of Invocation is fine. Without Souls, you are like kind of lacking a bit of draw power in this deck. But it is decently consistent, so you don't need to be overly stressed about not having those draw spells. Next off, we have 1 copy of Light Stage. It is at 1, so you just play 1. Pins down back row, generally searches a Dragoon, so good card. Then we have 1 copy of Terraforming. This can let you toolbox into that Light Stage or into the Invocation. Whatever you need is what you need to go into. Then we play 1 copy of Red Eyes Fusion. The Red Eyes Fusion is for the Dragoon, of course, so you kind of need to play it if you're playing that. Following that up, we've got, of course, 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. This can send your traps, which is good if you need to cycle the traps into other traps. Generally sort of solid. You do lack a lot of monsters to be able to send from this, so the Unaffected by Monsters is kind of a little missing in that situation, but the 3 droplets is still good. Next off, we're playing 1 copy of Elixir of Black Awakening. You don't need to play more than this or the white. 1 is just perfectly suffice. If the ban list does eventually hit this and you see Sanguine go down to lower numbers, then you would increase your Black Awakenings, but at the moment just 1 is fine. Next off, 3 copies of the Cursed Eldland. You can pay 8 and feel great with this card. So, generally, great card. Very, very expensive right now. This is the last piece that I had to pick up. Ended up buying like a bunch of product to try and get Eldlands, and then ended up pulling a lot of Eldlands, so I was pretty happy. Then next off, we move into our trap cards. We are playing 3 copies of Conquistador. Just generally your Eldlich cards that make your whole deck go around, allow you to control the matchup, recur for more resources, good cards. 3 copies of Hequero. Follow that up. Again, they do the same business. This one's just the DD Crow, which is very, very good in this format. So 3 Hequero are in here. Then we've got 3 copies of Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine. It does lock you to zombies, but does summon you the Golden Lord from deck. Facilitates pretty much everything. Chain blocking in this deck is like really essential. Making sure that your Sanguine is like chain link 2, so that when your other traps resolve, they resolve fully. Just make sure you're doing that if you're playing the deck. Then 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, as always, round out the main deck. Okay, next off we move into the extra deck, and of course the centerpiece, that is one copy of Dragoon. You generally want to try and push the Dragoon out as early as possible in the matchup. It's just so oppressive right now, and a lot of decks like kind of shifted away from it because Dragoon dropped out of the meta. Dragoon is now starting to come into the meta, so we could see a lot more decks start to play outs, but at the moment, Dragoon is just very oppressive. 2 copies of Macabre follow up the Dragoon. Your primary negation that you're going to be making off your Invoked package. Also really, really good. We are playing 1 copy of Nova later on, so this can be summoned off the Nova if you come up against someone that decides to Maximus you. 1 copy of Purgatrio up next. We aren't playing the Salamirian Armorage anymore because you can condense down now and play Artemis instead. So this is here mainly for the Ash, if that is the situation you are summoning it in. You can also just use your opponent's grave to summon Purgatrio, which is always good. 1 copy of Agoitis follows that up. Card can get very, very big and be very, very oppressive with the pops every time a card special summoned. Or is that first time? Ignore what I said. I don't know. Let's keep going. Then we've got 1 copy of Inst, rounds out our Fusion lineup. This is just, again, a second card so that you can chain block your Nova if you get hit with a Maximus. For the links, we've got, of course, 1 copy of Link Spider. Very good card. You use it to link off your traps, because you need to kind of have an effect monster for your Dragoon play. So you can Link Spider into the trap, or the trap into the Link Spider, sorry, and then you just kind of keep playing from there. 1 copy of Artemis. This is now your 1 card Invoked package. Your Alistair can just go straight into this, and then this can just become a Macabre. You don't need to play that extra deck slot anymore. 1 copy of Verte comes up next, the card that summons, of course, your Dragoon. 2 effect monsters. Make sure you're not using traps for this because that is cheating. 1 copy of Phoenix and 1 copy of Unicorn follow this up. Just general Link 2s that toolbox very well. These can be summoned with the traps because it is different names. They're not effect monsters, so that's good. And then we have, of course, 1 copy of Access Code. Rounds out our Link monsters. This card can just make game, get over big stuff. Generally, a very, very good card. Then we've got our XCs. We are playing 1 copy of Nova for if we get hit with a Maximus. 1 copy of Pleiades because you can make this with the traps. And then we are only playing the 1 copy of Gustav Max. I am yet to get one of the big trains. Hopefully, sealed only this month will bring us a big train. At which point you can find space to put this into the deck. But at the moment, we're just playing the 1 copy of Gustav because that last 2,000 damage can be big. Just make sure after you Sanguine, you're not summoning this because you're locked into zombies. And of course, that is cheating. But that will wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations or things you would change, make sure to comment them down below. Hit the subscribe button if you are new here. And as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.